Hello and welcome. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ariani Diaz, and this is my amazing and beautiful channel in which I talk about beauty related stuff, spirituality, things that empower you, and just how to live a beautiful life. I remember that I put as the slogan for my YouTube banner, create a life that you don't have to escape. And honestly, creating a life that you don't have to escape requires self-respect. So this is why I am choosing this topic. Well, that's one of the reasons, but the other reason is because this is something that I've been working on and cultivating and nurturing, like really paying attention to for the last couple of months, because I knew that in order for me to create the life that I want to live, it requires for me to reach a new level of self-respect that I've never had before. And yeah, that's the reason why I chose this topic. And also I did a this or that on my Instagram, which if you don't follow me on my Instagram, follow me, is at Ariani Noeli, and there you get to see my like day-to-day life, what I do besides like work, and just you get to meet my family and all of that good stuff. So let's begin with the topic, self-respect. And I wanted to come here well versed on the topic, and let's begin by defining what is the self. And according to the Oxford Languages Dictionary, self means a person, existential being that distinguishes them from others. So what I understand from the self is what makes you you, your thoughts, your body, your energy, your ideas, your creation, what distinguishes you from other people, right? And then your spiritual body, your mental body, all of that. And then we're going to define respect, which according to the Oxford Languages Dictionary, respect is a feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elicited by their abilities, right? So what another person is able to do, and you have deep admiration for that. So when we're talking about the self-respect, is a deep admiration for your abilities. Yeah, a deep admiration for your abilities, who you are, right? And when I talk about self-respect, there's something that has to be done, and it's willing to look at yourself internally and what makes up you. This is also about your boundaries, right? So you get to know where you're like who you are and where other begins, like your values, your ideas, your thought pattern, your mental state, your creations, everything that makes up who you are. And again, self-respect is about admiring and having deep respect for yourself, your creation, just who you are as a person, a human being, a spiritual being, just your essence, what makes up you. And I want to continue this topic by talking about what happens. There are certain things that happen when we disrespect ourselves. So I wrote some things down. And one of the things is we treat ourselves in a non-loving way. When we start to disrespect ourselves, it is from a place that we're not showing like true love and deep love for our being and who we are and ourselves. Also, another thing that happens when we disrespect ourselves is we break our promises to ourselves. We engage in destructive behavior. We become doormats of other people, and we let other people shape who we are. We let other people tell us who we are. That comes from disrespecting ourselves. That comes from not admiring and having a deep feeling of admiration from who we are, what we are. So how can we begin to respect ourselves? I felt that I began to respect myself by, first of all, having deep compassion for myself. Because when I was disrespecting myself, not entirely, but there was just certain aspects. For example, I was not respecting my YouTube channel. I was not respecting the work that I did. I didn't value the work that I did, and so that came from a place of disrespect. And that's honestly what brought me to the topic of disrespect. It was my business and how I wanted my business to become successful. And I just, time and time again, when I sat with myself, the deep-rooted issue was I was not admiring, I was not appreciating, I was not valuing the work that I was doing. Even though it was beautiful work, I felt it wasn't enough. And honestly, being stuck in that mentality, it was so hurtful. I was like hurt in my innermost being. Imagine, like, honestly, I feel like I want to cry just thinking about that, because like, how is it that I create something beautiful, that God gives me the opportunity to create something so beautiful, and I don't respect it, you know? So I honestly had to sit quietly by myself. So this is where we begin to respect ourselves. It's just to sit quietly with yourself. And sometimes this can be painful. So if you need another person to help you with this, like a therapist, which I highly recommend, somebody that feels that can create a safe space for you to express yourself, and I highly recommend that for you. But I began that journey by just sitting with myself quietly and truly asking myself, what will feel like, what we feel a loving person will say to us, right? I don't want, like, I'm already in a place where even though I'm creating beautiful stuff, and even though I'm doing these beautiful things, I'm not valuing it and I'm not respecting it. I'm not treating it with deep admiration. And I sat quietly with myself, and I in a way, like my inner thought pattern, I like put a deep loving voice and started to talk to that deep loving voice, and asked and listened to what would a loving person say to me about how to respect myself and how to respect especially the work that I was doing. And as I started to listen, of course, shame came up. You start to feel ashamed because you're like, oh my God, how was I disrespecting myself or letting other people disrespect us and think that it was okay? So there was a level of shame and guilt coming up. And again, you have to bring that side of yourself that is compassionate. And for me, a lot of times where I would disrespect my work, it was because I didn't know any better. So that helped me, knowing that I didn't know any better. And that I literally had, like, even though I had other people in my surrounding that always used to love my work and always believed in myself, there was something in the back of my head that I was entertaining that taught me, that was telling me, like, you suck. And like, for example, even though there are other people that are more advanced than me, it was that comparison, like, oh my God, other people deserve, like, because they're more advanced than me, or that, but it was more about, like, what about what you're doing? You're also creating something beautiful and special, and that is gonna benefit somebody, and that they're gonna love it. Like, why are you treating it so mean, you know? So yeah. And now let's talk. I wrote down 10 things that I now practice, how I practice self-respect. And the number one thing that I do to practice self-respect is to honor my word. I found that every time I was not honoring my word, I was disrespecting myself, because the final word in my life is me. I get to choose how I want to engage with the world. And looking back into it, like, for example, honoring my word, like, my issue with honoring my word was that I was over compromising. So you also have to look at and the ways that you're over compromising. I noticed that every time that I will be super excited, because honestly I have a very friendly nervous system. So if I'm like really excited in the moment I'm like yes, and I didn't really think about if that's truly something that I wanted to do. So I will over compromise, and it will suck when I had to like not show up for people, or show up and I didn't want to be really there. So honoring my word meant that I had to like slow down and truly figure out what I wanted to engage with in the moment. And honoring my word meant, like, especially for me, was honoring my no, or to tell people, hey, let me really think about this and let me get back to you in another moment. So for me, that was really what honoring my work really was. Number two, it was that I started to remove myself from situations that were disrespectful to my being and who I was. So like, for example, it isn't that I don't curse. Like, there are situations where I curse, but if it's a situation that I'm chronically being disrespected by a person, just like cursing at me or treating me in a way that is harmful towards me. And like, before I used to, of course, like, look at them and see why, you know, they were irritated and things like that, and I would just like justify their behavior towards me, even though I was offering them something very beautiful. It was just not healthy for me to constantly be in those type of environments, again, that was disrespectful towards me. So I made the conscious decision of to remove myself of situations and environments and away from people that were disrespectful towards me. The third thing that I did was to get to know what my needs are in order for me to get out of survival. So like, for example, going back to what I said about honoring my word, for example, I know now that my need is for me to be in a stable like state in my nervous system, so that I am allowed to make a decision from a place that is not in survival. So when I understood what my needs were, I was able to start practicing self-respect. So I started anticipating situations in where I knew that there are certain things that I needed, maybe the other person didn't need, but there were certain situations that I needed something. Like, for example, in the case of like telling people no, or that I wasn't fully there on the answer, I would just need time. So get to know your need. Like, for example, if I need, like, for example, I'll tell you this. I love washing dishes with my hands because I feel like they clean it better. But I also need a certain like barrier, because I don't like touching that slimy stuff on the thing. So like, my need is to buy gloves. So like, because I wash the dishes with gloves, I love what I'm doing, but there was also that extra level of care for me because it just like felt gross. So that's like the stuff that I'm like, I hope you get it. I engage a lot with clean thoughts, so I am more aware of the thoughts that I entertain, and for example, the people that I listen to. So it's not, and again, it's not that I don't engage, like, for example, with certain types of dembow, which is for the most of the part, is very explicit music, and I love the rhythm and all of that, but I'm conscious of what that's telling my system. And there's certain things that dembow said that I just won't engage. Like, I won't engage in it. But for example, when I'm engaging like with certain YouTubers, what I listen to, I'm engaging with people that are gonna benefit me and where I want to head in life, and that are respecting me and the way that I live. Number 5 is that I talk and think highly of myself. this was something that I really had to work on, because even like it was more about like receiving these things. Like, for example, when people used to say to me, you are really good at makeup, you do makeup really well, there was something I used to feel like, like, no, I'm not really good at it. Like, this is just practice and things like that. And while yes, it was just practice, I was actually really good at it. And I was and people used to love when I used to do their makeup. And 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 yeah, I had to like started thinking highly of myself and talk highly of myself, and not just talk it but receive it. So when people offer me compliment, I no longer start to feel like, no, I'm not going to receive it, I don't believe that about myself, but I start to be like, thank you, thank you. And even though at the beginning I didn't believe it, the more I started to practice the thank you, I appreciate it, and started to believe in and not think like, you know, the Mean Girls movie where Regina George was like, said something like, I like the top, I don't really know it word for word, but I like her top. And she was like, oh, so you really think that? I'm gonna be like, yes, I really think that, because that's how highly of myself I think. So I'm not thinking whether they said it like in a to throw shots way or anything like that. Like, I really think that of myself. Yes, I look cute, yes, my work is good, because also I am putting the effort into it. So again, it's also about engaging with the thoughts and all of that. And number 6 is I am disciplined. Ooh, this was something that I needed in order to like get to the level that I want to get in my life. I noticed that my work needed discipline, so I started to implement discipline by setting up schedules, creating task lists, checklists, being consistent, even when I wasn't thinking. Again, even when I didn't want to do things because I was just entertaining things that weren't constructive and beneficial for me, I started to be disciplined with it. So being disciplined with my word, being disciplined with removing myself with situations that were disrespectful, being disciplined with engaging with clean thoughts, and all of that. Number 7 is I give myself compassion. Like in this case with self-respect, like if you come from chronic self-disrespect, know that at the beginning you're going to suck, and that's where you yourself, your being that is compassionate, give that to yourself. If you give it to other people, practice giving it to yourself, because this path takes deep compassion for yourself. Deep compassion for yourself. Number 8, I already said I value who I am at the current moment. And with this, is like I can bring it back to my work. Like, when you're a beginner, you're a beginner. You know, you're a beginner, but just because you're a beginner, that doesn't mean you're a value. You're obviously bringing something to someone, and yes, there's people that are more advanced, and of course they're probably not going to need you unless they want you to remind them of the basics, but the basics are still valuable, and I understood that. And me, like something that I know, and I think that everybody knows, not everybody knows, and I had to like ingrain that in my head, and that's where like I came about and started practicing, like, value where I'm at. Like, even in this very moment, I might not be, I don't know, like I might not be the Ariani that has like a whole bunch of like a bigger community, but this Ariani that is here, I love her and I value her, and I value her work, and I respect her work, and that comes with that. Okay, so let's move. Number 9 is I wrote down I take care of myself physically, emotionally, spiritually, and thoughts. Like, overall, holistically, having self-respect again goes back to deep admiration. And when you have deep admiration for yourself, you're going to take care of yourself. So I know that I still have like work to do physically. Like, I personally just want to feel stronger. But I take care of myself physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And I think I don't want to dive too deep into it because I feel like it goes back to all of the other points that I wrote down. But those are some things that I truly practice. I don't entertain really things that are purposely that are going to just bring disharmony, that are not going to offer growth in a non-destructive way. And because I love my life and I want to live a beautiful life, I choose to take care of what I already have, because I also see it as a gift. I worked hard for it. God gave it to me. Why not nurture and take care of what I already have? And if they give me beauty, for example, if they give me health, which is something that I want to live with, it just doesn't make any sense for me to treat it with disrespect. Number 10 is I invest in myself with books, money-wise, spiritually. In all aspects, I give back to myself because I trust in myself to give out a return on the investment, and a really good one. If self-respect leads to self-trust, and when you trust yourself and in your abilities, you're able to bring a high return on your investments, which again is yourself. So that's honestly what leads to self-respect. It's kind of like a two-way, because even when you don't respect yourself, but you start to invest in yourself, now there's sort of an investment. That now there's sort of a relationship, and that's gonna make you check on where you're lacking and what is it that you need to pay attention to if you don't want to keep on losing. Okay, so and a bonus one is, it was really important for me to mention to engage with life as it is in the moment. It don't matter where you're at in your life. It don't matter if you're in a room right now and it's dark and it's like you feel like there's no reason why you should get up, because life sucks, because I'm broke, because I feel ugly, because da 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 da. And I say this with the utmost love. Like sometimes, a lot of times we do need community and we do need help, and it is important for you to reach out. But why I say to engage life is what it is try not to escape it, because by escaping it, you're not in, it's not going to give you what you need in this moment. This moment is already giving you what you need in this moment. Like, so for example, if you are engaging in negative self-talk, that moment is telling you you are engaging with a negative self-talk. So it's about becoming aware on what's going in your internal mind and also in the surrounding, because there itself is also the key into getting you out of the situation if you want to get out. Because sometimes we just need to get tired of our own BS in order for us to like really get up and become our own hero. But engaging in this current moment, and whatever moment it is, has allowed me to always make progress. I give you guys an example. I am a mom, and I have a 6-month-old, and it was so difficult for me adjusting her schedule. And like, I remember that I was engaging, like, I just want her to go to sleep, right? Like, I was just like shaking her bassinet, and I'm like, I want her to go to sleep. I want her to go to sleep. And I'm like thinking in the future, like, yeah, I want her to go to sleep, and she's not going to sleep, because right now what she needs is for me to be calmed down, so she can feel safe and she can feel like secure and relaxed to go to sleep. So I remember there was a point that I was like, I didn't lie to myself, and I was like, yes, this moment is challenging for me because I don't want to be here. I want to be doing something else, but she needs me. And I remember I told to myself, yes, this moment is difficult, but I also got what it takes to handle this moment. And in that moment, I truly broke free from whatever it was. And I was able to handle what was in front of me, which was this crying and fuzzy baby, and give her what she needed in the exact moment. And ever since then, I'm able to apply the same technique, not only with my baby, but whatever it is that's in front of me, and just tell myself, I got this. Yes, this moment might be difficult, challenging, irritating, blah, 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 but I got this. And when you tell yourself that you got this, you're able to trust yourself to make the moves that are needed in that specific moment. Yay! So we are done with this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions that you feel I didn't answer or want to engage in a little bit differently, just comment below. And I'm always answering questions from like 9 to 11. It really depends. So thank you all so much for watching. Oh my god, and I always forget to say this in the middle of the video, but if you need web design or UX services, please visit www.arianidiaz.com, and I am there offering web services. The web services that I offer are if you want to transfer to your story and a website to be more professional so people can know that you're an authority in your field. Again, I am there, or you can send me an email, contact@arianidiaz.com, and I'm gonna answer you. So just reach out to me there. And yeah, that's it. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.